Next question. What were your initial thoughts on the PR Samurai theme? A little generic, a little, like I said, too pop and overproduced sounding for me, but I was flattered that they used that theme again, so I thought it was pretty cool. Next question. Is it true that you were going to score PRSPD? No. I had asked about it after they took the theme, but in a lot of those projects, they tend to have one person write the theme and someone else score it. So I just figured, okay, and moved on. I hadn't encountered that before. Usually I do the whole entire show, but I was fine with doing the theme. Believe me, it was fine. Next question. You mentioned in a previous podcast that you're going to score the first PR movie, and you said about keeping the score rock. Do you remember what your rock score version would have sounded like? It would have sounded, and I did demos for it, it sounded exactly like the series, which was what 20th Century Fox and I had discussed doing, keeping it true to the score that everyone was familiar with that worked so well instead of trying to reinvent the wheel. But unfortunately, it didn't work out. So they went with the guy, I forgot his name, that scored The Crow or something at that time, and it turned into a typical Hollywood score. Not bad, but certainly nothing that won any awards. Next question. Have you ever had any odd or crazy fan mails over the years regarding Power Rangers? I would say of the maybe 80 or 90,000 emails I've gotten regarding the show, there's probably been about 50 crazies. So not a bad ratio, right? There's been a lot of email. It still comes in every day. It has since I first joined American Online in the beginning of 1993 or something. There was a time where there was 100 or 200 coming in a day. Now it's just a few a day, but they still come in, but no, very few nuts. Next question. I noticed a PR music video online called New Rangers to the Rescue as a promo to introduce the second half of Power Rangers Turbo with a new team, which I'm sure you might have seen. I hadn't, but there's a link here. How come they dubbed your song over someone else? Was it because Saban may be worried that you get discovered and he would lose you from creating music on the show? All right, I'm going to pause here and go look at that video. Okay, I just watched the video. Yeah, I remember seeing that a long time ago. This was just... maybe I'd already left, I have no idea, but this is just somebody's idea to say, hey, let's get some young kids on a band on a rooftop and make them look like a band and shoot a video. I have no idea who thought that idea up. Obviously, it didn't go very far. But you deal with crazy people in the business. And they'll come up to you and they'll say, this is what you're doing. And this is what we're doing, and you just kind of go along with it. You have no power as the composer, believe me. All right, next question. There was an episode during MMPR, Return of an Old Friend, and the Rangers were fighting Goldar in the Dark Dimension. This song... Oh, got another link. Let me go check it. Okay, I just watched the video. It looks like they added this melody guitar solo. Now, that might have been done with a version of the track that was done specifically to be used with picture. As far as I know, it's a pretty rough edit there. So it sounds... it also could have been done without my knowledge. I'm sorry, I have no idea why they did that. But it would have been taken out of the song because I don't believe that part was open to... repeat the same exact melody again. That wouldn't have been so creative if that was what ended up as the theme of the song. Here's a good one. How were you approached for creating Lord Zed's theme song? They said, we'd like something dark like Darth Vader's song. So that's how Lord Zed's theme song was born. Next question. How did you manage to create that Korg effect for songs in MMPR? That would be just sitting bent over in a chair and tweaking knobs until you find the magic sound and saving the preset, and if I remember correctly, backing it up to an external card or a card that went in the darn thing. and making sure you don't lose that sound. It's just tweaking knobs until you hear it. What were your initial thoughts on creating Hey Rita, which I heard wasn't one of your favorites? I don't know. It's interesting. I think I like it better now. It just didn't really have much of a rock vibe, but by that time, there had been so many complaints and so many problems about any of the songs sounding too harsh and creating kids to beat each other up. So things were lightening up to kind of a ridiculous level. So certainly Hey Rita became this kind of comical thing. Plus she was kind of a dork, so, it fits her. How many years did you score for MMPR? First 3 years, and then they used my library, I think, for at least another 2-3 years. So, but I actually only focused hardcore on it at Saban for 3 years. Next one. I love the Bulk and Skull theme song. How were you approached for creating that? That was really fun to do. I just figured he's fat, so I'll use a tuba, and he's annoying, so I'm going to use a muted trumpet. So I found this little drum loop thing that did that, and the tuba part, which boom, 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 and then the annoying guy, it keeps going up the scale, like getting more on your nerves. So that was a fairly easy one to create, and it was always fun to put that in every episode. Next question. Do you know or have worked with any of these people when working for Saban? If so, what were they like? Kusamachi. Kusamachi is Haim Saban. So, yeah. Jason Radford, nope. Jason Gochin, nope. Paul Gordon, nope. Ron Kanan, all the time, because he was the head of music there. Bruce Watson, yeah, all the time. He came in and played guitars. Kenny Burgomaster, I know him well. We ran into each other at a meeting the other day, and we're going to hang out again in a few weeks. He does a bunch of Disney stuff, so he's fine. Lior Rosner, Einon Zur. I don't know who that is, so no. Next one. I heard somewhere you met Ozzy once. What was it like meeting him? Yep, I met him at the Sundance Film Festival maybe 10, 11 years ago, and I was up there. We were doing a gig, my wife and I, for the band Fisher. We were friends with Valerie Bertinelli and Eddie Van Halen, and Eddie told me Ozzy's going to be up there, so please say hello to him for me, which gave me the great excuse to meet Ozzy. So I went to his press person and I said, Eddie wanted me to say hi, and I'd like to say hi. And so I went up and chatted with him for 4 or 5 minutes, and he's a doll. The nicest guy. But there was a lot of press and cameras and people around, so he was a bit overwhelmed, as anybody gets. But that was a really fun experience. Okay, next question. Are there any strange or odd people you have worked with, either in the past or more recently? Well, let's not call them strange or odd. Let's call them eccentric, unusual. And that would definitely be, Eddie Van Halen, John Anderson from Yes, and just about every famous person I've ever met. They're just on a different planet usually, and it's almost always a really nice place, and they're wonderful people, and but definitely a little different when it comes to the average day like you and I have.